because that way, I mean, I'll have them. And if you want them, you're like, hey, would you send me, yesterday or last week or whatever? That's totally up to you. Fine.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I'm excited. I have been so excited to start with you for so many reasons, Melissa. And then when I got the assessment and I started reading through it, I was just like, oh, this is just going to be so awesome and brilliant. And where I really want to start is more towards the end of that, when the question was if you trusted your coach enough to tell him or her how to manage you the most, what tips would you give? So love your answer. And that was talk to me like a person. The relationship is professional in nature, but not personal. But if you talk to me as though I'm a number and that you truly don't care about me and what I achieve, I would not be engaging or likely in the relationship for lack of rapport. And I was like, yes, I was doing the happy dance because it's who I am. And we will get, and I think it's already happened because of some of the other things that you shared with me above, which I'll talk about. But I wanted to start here because I want to assure you that this is how I work. I'm gonna go deep. I care about people. And it's not just a number. And it's why I coach the way I do. I don't do oh, do this in 6 weeks and you'll have the kind of practice I do. Don't do that. And sometimes you may have to say, whoa, that's a little bit too deep or too personal. But really, I have such great relationships with my coaching clients because I guess it's just the love that I have to give.
Yeah.
And so thank you for saying that, first of all. And then the other part that I want to ask is because I think that before we really jump in, it's helpful for me to know because it is important for me. And that was the last question about, your faith journey. And you said that you grew up Catholic, and you do prefer Catholic Church, but your spouse would rather go to a Christian church, and so that's what you do. So, um, and please just be completely open and honest to your answers and how you feel about it. Did you feel that your faith and your spiritual life is a part of you as a whole and you incorporate um, a lot into that? Do you bring God into your business at all in terms of yourself and how you run it? Not necessarily clients, but is it something that you're okay with if we talk about occasionally? It's not a daily thing or a weekly thing that I do, but there was times where I feel led to bring something that will help you uh, potentially see things from a different perspective.
Yeah. I don't use it. Obviously, it's not something I promote in practice. A
Right.
lot of Texas clients that are obviously they bring God into everything,
Mm-hmm.
church,
Mm-hmm.
school, like it's everything, you know.
Right.
Um, so, but yeah, I mean, I grew up Catholic. I, went through. My dad was a CCD teacher, so we did the whole thing, and every time something heavy is going on in my life, I rely heavily on religion and God. So I do use that, and I believe that faith is really even how I got here.
Right.
You know, leaving my job, looking for you, and doing this, like even the same thing. Like, oh, I gotta spend money to make money. Okay, God is telling me this is what I have to do. If I don't do it, like every time I'm like, ugh, the rational, practical person says, I don't need to do this, or I don't need to do this right now. I should wait to do this. And then
Mm.
the other part of me says, but you can't wait. You have to do this. You have to trust that it's going to be what you're looking for. So,
Right.
I will even say in the last 2 weeks, working with my tax person, I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, nope, I can't not do it. I have to do this. and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Right. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm totally fine with that. And it does
Right.
play a large part in my life.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be fair and share just a little bit too on my background and where
yeah.
I come from. So I grew up in a Baptist church all of my life. My parents, well, when my mom was younger and growing up, she was raised Catholic. And then when my oldest sister, her first girl, which was her fourth child, was born, she went to a Christian church and never looked back. And from that point forward, with all the other kids. So I grew up in a Baptist church. And when I was 6, I asked Jesus in my heart. And then, you know how religion goes, you just kind of take on your parents until you really get old enough to bring it on yourself and understand. And now it's really just okay. I don't so much follow religion as I follow that one-on-one relationship between me and Christ.
Mhm.
And I very much like you, I very much rely on him guiding and directing the path of the doors. And what I've learned is when I don't do something like you said, if I put it up or I don't do it, the Holy Spirit's just like, oh yes, you will,
Yeah.
until it's like, okay, 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 I'll do it. So occasionally, like I said, what happens for me is as we start to go and we start to dig and we start to find, he'll give me things to share, things that I may have experienced and gone through, or just a story that may relate, biblically may relate to what's going on. So you always, always, always have the permission to say, let's not go there today. And that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. So, okay. I hope you're excited about getting started as I am. I feel like a little girl in a candy store. I'm just like, "Oh, this is what I love to do." Probably kind of like what you like to do when you get in the room with your clients.
Yeah, well, and that's like the one that's the I'm a real person and I share with my clients and back traditionally years ago that never would have been,
Yes,
but even in since 2012 when I
right.
got licensed, I have always been that way, always been a person and share. I put pictures out of my family, none in here, oddly enough, just because
Yeah.
I'm home all the time,
You're
so I
right.
don't but like and so I share in that way and but for me, yeah, I mean it's anxiety provoking, but in the same sense, as I got closer it was less anxiety producing. To like yesterday I was really looking forward to to for this, and
Mhm.
um typically I would be somebody that backs out, like, which is
Oh,
odd because I'm a therapist and I believe in therapy.
yes.
Um, and I talk about things, but like if I can avoid it, I'll avoid it until
Mhm.
I'm forced to do it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Yeah.
yeah.
So I avoid uncomfortable conversations and I'm pretty guarded. And there's lots of personal childhood reasons for that.
Mhm.
But once I get to that point, if I start it, then it opens. And so that's why I kept saying is I had to keep telling myself, keep pushing it and saying like, this is worth it. You need to do this, you know?
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, so going back up to the top of it, the first thing I want to do, because I'm very much like that. With my clients, I am who I always tell them, I am who I am. This is me. And there's no mask. You don't have to try to figure out anything about me. I am an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mhm.
Sometimes people like, why do you do that? That's too much. Blah, blah. But I feel that's what God has called me to do and who he's called me to be, and to be my true self. And in that, time after time after time, I feel that because I do that, that I help people in a way that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't.
Yeah.
because then he's able to speak through me. So I love how in the very first, in the beginning, you shared who I am, and thank you. Thank you for trusting me with some of the vulnerability. I want to say congratulations to you, big time, high five, tens on being sober almost 3 years. That's huge.
I thought about not writing that.
I'm sure you did.
And I said, if I don't, and we talk about things, it's always sort of the core.
Okay.
So not like in a negative way.
Right.
I'll tell you a little bit about that is my dad was sober growing up. So my sister, I think I was like one or two. My parents got divorced when I was a baby because my mom left. My dad got sober and then they got back together and he's been sober my entire life. So I grew up in a sober household. My mom has never drank and I didn't drink until after I had kids. So my oldest is 12 and my youngest is 9. So we moved to Texas in 2016. I had no friends. I worked at a hospital in trauma. I saw a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And my husband works a lot.
Okay.
And I just found myself, going towards that. And then I got to a point where I couldn't get out of it. It was never during the day. It was only at night. It was only at home. But the kids and my daughter, she was 6 and she's so intuitive. Like she was 9 when I got sober, and we're very close. Well, sometimes I think a little too close for that reason. And so she has a lot of hurt from that. But it took me a long time to even admit that I had a problem. Like I would just say, no, like you're just like to my husband, and then finally I admitted that I did. And I just said, and so what? Like I'm admitting that to you. What's the big deal? And then I just so we talk about God. I worked at the hospital. I had a friend who worked at the hospital also. We did overnights together. She worked for Blue Cross, and she did the hospital part-time. She came to me and said, hey, you could work from home for Blue Cross. I know you drive, because I drove a long time to get to work. Wow. And she was like, I know you want to be at home. And so I applied in October of 2019. I started there. And by, oddly enough, February 2020, I was working from home. And that's when I had always done private practice on the side for the infertility, for like the surrogate screenings and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But we had a lot of debt and we were really struggling. And then I had this problem. And so I started doing private practice more to make more money as I had the time and flexibility of being home. And what I did at Blue Cross was I did insurance authorizations for behavioral health.
Wow.
And I screened people for substance abuse treatment.
Oh, wow.
And why would that happen? How did I end up here? What am I doing? And I'd be answering these, the questions, and I'm like, this is me. This is me. And so in December of 2019, I got sober. I made it 59 days, 69, something like that. And then the pandemic hit.
Oh, yes.
And so it was like March, right? March to April 30th was the last day I drank, because Mike had been gone. He was gone. My sister asked me to watch my nieces. It wasn't a bad night. It just was like, I went back to just consuming the same amounts I had been consuming before, which was a bottle a night. I have a history of gastric bypass surgery in 2009. So I have this superpower ability to get very drunk very quickly and then sober very quickly. So the next morning, you wouldn't, it's like I function just fine. So they call that addiction transference, by the way, right? Like
I never heard that term.
So they're seeing a lot of people who had weight loss surgery, who had binge eating problems, who turn to their drinking becomes a problem. It's
Yeah.
actually a really huge thing. Um, and when I do psychological screenings for bariatric surgeries, we review that, because not do I say this is because I had the same problem, but so it was April 30th. I woke up May 1st, and I just said, I don't want to feel this way. I'm going to go back to AA. And I did. And that was May 1st, 2020. So almost 3 years. I have no desire to drink. I go out. We go to places, like we can go sit at a bar, and it almost as if I never drank a day in my life.
Wow.
I can't just say that it's God and God alone, right?
Right.
It is.
Right.
But so my drinking problem was very short, but very intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like a 3-year problem, but impacted a lot of things in my life. To say, though, my husband had a problem with it because I wasn't the me who does everything. I don't think he would have had a problem if I wasn't not doing the things that he wanted me to be doing.
Okay.
But my sister and my mom are the opposite and could see it. And my mom is super supportive, and my sister is super supportive. So, my mom still says my husband should go to Al-Anon, but he won't.
Yeah. The guy, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so that's that aspect of it.
Okay.
And I was pretty shameful about it.
Sure.
But I'm not shameful about it anymore.
So I could see you using that, even if you don't tell the details, very much so in your work, that you can relate to certain people and give you come from an aspect of I've experienced things and I understand it now.
I will tell clients after, building rapport, my story. I've got 3 female clients who are over a year sober, and we've been working together. We work through the relational aspects of it. I have one male client, and but if I have a lot of spouses, and I don't tell them, because that to me is like, oh, she is like them, so
Right.
but I can use that skill set to help them process things
Right.
about their relationship. So it has been extremely helpful in my work, and I will not tell people that. It's one of those things, if it comes up,
Sure.
it can be helpful. I'm not just going to tell you that.
Yeah. So when you thought about not sharing it, why did you think that? And then what made you finally make the decision to share?
Because I think it does make you question a person. I think it does. And I thought, I want you to see me as I am, and not take that and make a different opinion. But then I thought, well, sure as shit, it impacts me a lot. And if I don't,
Sure, it'll come out somewhere.
Yeah. So I thought, I should say is, does it really have anything to do with this? And on the business side,
Right.
No. But if you talk about business, professional coaching, like with my own person, yeah, it does. It has a lot to do with that. And
but
if
also,
it ever,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if it ever is a stressor, if I'm ever super stressed, that too I haven't had that happen.
Right.
Again, I think literally God took this away from me, and I am so thankful for that, because I don't have a single thought about it unless I'm talking about it.
Right.
But I don't ever want that to be something where it's like, I'm really struggling with this and I'm not coping well, and that to be something that I can't talk to you about.
Right. Absolutely. And what I see is you modeled what you said below about talking to you as a real person. Um, you modeled that up here before you ever even got down there, because you did open up and share with me. So that is, to me, what I see is this is huge, because number one, we are a whole person. And I don't want to just talk to Melissa, who's a professional. If you remember when we first met, one of the things I did in the very beginning was tell me who you are. Don't tell me what you do. I know
Yeah.
what you do. Tell me who you are, because I have a desire and a heart to know the person. First, we are people, a person, a being, we have a spirit, we have a soul, and then it's what we do. So I always want to see that first, my prayer is, Lord, let me see them through your eyes. Um, so I get to see the whole person. I get to be able to relate to the whole person. And then I get to share things about me down the road that I've struggled with and what I've learned as well. So this is a great way to start. I'm just like so excited. I literally was just, yeah, that's awesome. So um I don't want to go through every little single thing, but I did highlight some things that I want to say super, or questions that I have.
Yep.
Um, so the purpose and the why, I don't know if you've done any, and let me just say, when you were talking, it came to my mind that I think sometimes therapists may think that um, with coaches that we have it all together. Well, we don't. I have shit in
Hmm.
my life. Just so you know, a lot of it. Um, and just even recently have had just some really, really, really hard months. And I'm just kind of back on this, and it's like, you know what? Oh God, I got things to do in life. And I don't want to be there. I want to do what I'm called to do. So we don't have it all together. So that's why I'm going to be very open and vulnerable too. But the who I am is to help me see that you really get, the deep core, because I really think that therapists are very uniquely called to do what you do. I could not in a million years. Let me just say, when I first started in the business, I've been managing businesses for 30 plus years. I've been coaching and everything. And when I came into mental health, I went into a counseling center that had been around for 30 years already, and they were a hot mess. And so it took me a long time to wrap my brain around it all and to try to get them figured and situated. And one of the things I did in the beginning was, I did work on the phones and get that connection, but I also had 26 therapists that I was responsible for. And my perception of therapists was quite different on that side of the rope. And then when I got on this side of the rope, I had two co-founders, two bosses, and I said to them one day, and I said, why do you do this? And they're like, what do you mean? Why do you sit and listen to people shit all day long? That would drive me nuts. It would drive me crazy. It would bring me down. And the one said, he goes, oh my God, it energizes me. I just, and I'm like, really? So I feel they're very, very specially called. Um, but before you could do what you do, knowing who you are, the purpose and why, knowing what you're called to do, knowing why you do it, and then who you serve is huge. That's why that's at the top. And I love where you said, why do you do what you do? It gives you joy. That's here. So,
Hmm.
that tells me you're in your passion. Um, okay, so let's go down to some of the actual, what I need to do. When you told me that you did for 2022 205K, my jaw dropped on
Um,
your own.
so I was wrong, actually. I worked for Talkspace through May until I was sure that my business was sustainable on its own. So I actually made 233 because I got my W or the 1099 the other day, and I just said to my husband, I said, what the F? I
You
don't know
can
how
say
this
it
is
because I
possible.
might
Yeah.
occasionally.
I was like, the fuck, I made $233,000. I made at the most, I thought I was doing great working for a system, a 75, you know, it was like, this is it. I'm making money. And I had a goal. We were in, I think I wrote it in, we were just really struggling and I needed to be done. And I made a promise to my husband. And I, I did it. We actually made our final payment last week and we're done. And I have zero debt besides owning our home. And, but I
That's
was
awesome.
like, I said, you know, I didn't ever think that that would be what it was. But in the same sense, I also realized that that meant I worked a lot.
Well, yeah, for one therapist to do that solo, I'm I'm like, where the hell did that girl listen? I just will tell you, I love Jesus, but I cuss too. So,
Yeah. Okay.
uh, so huge, major, huge. But I also see this trickles down as we go. We've got to find some work balance, and you
Yeah.
cannot keep up that pace alone. So,
Right.
um, so first of all, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
when you said I am successful, I wrote yes, you know. Um, but I think that that this is timely because that is just what your schedule is. And even Evelyn's like, you gotta you gotta make her slow. Oh my god, guy. Um, all right. So then going down to what overwhelms you most, you said fear. Fear that I
Mhm.
can't maintain the income. Understandable. Um, what my question here is why do you have the fear? Not so much of the income, because I get that that was a train that took off and didn't stop until, you know, this point, and it's not stopped. We're working on it. But you said not only the income, but hiring new clinicians that you won't be able to hire clinicians under you while you're making it private. Why do you have this fear? Where does that come from?
I think it comes from the same fear I had in initially going here is like, I can't do that. I would never know how to do that, you know, like get credentialed and manage this and figure all of that out. The steps that it takes from going to individual to group, which I have actually taken in the last 2 weeks, and the last 2 weeks have been, I was, I think I lost like 5 pounds in stress, anxiety, but it has subsided. But it's knowing what I'm supposed to be doing because I don't have a business background
Hmm.
and um, wanting to do it right. And I want to find quality people and I want to find people that will stay and I want to pay fairly and I want to make money. And so when I say fear of how the hell am I going to figure this all out
Okay.
and do it?
Okay. Got it. That's
I
very
have
helpful.
I have big goals, which I think from an individual perspective, I can make happen, but it's making it happen, you know?
Mhm. Okay.
I think I live in a lot of how is this even possible type of mentality. Like I am, you know, educated and I'm clinically licensed in multiple states and I have a
Yes.
home and I have, you know, and I come from failure. I come from a lot of just like maintaining very low income life. Like my family is very low income. My parents didn't go to college. Now, all my mom's siblings did go to college and are successful, but my aunt is the most successful. And I think I am more successful than her in comparison. So I have a lot of, in a sense, imposter syndrome, but not in the sense that I am not skilled but how did I get here? If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, mm, this is just like handy to me. Um, that's probably something that we'll focus on working on a little bit in the beginning, because I want to get all this shit out of the way, so to speak, before we go into the task stuff, because that's the foundation.
Yeah.
Foundation is critical. And that's where, when I say that I want to bring some things in on the faith and the aspect that I want to share with you where I came from, how I started my business, and what happened. Okay, so that's absolutely perfect. And what I'm going to put in your mind real quick is, you said it comes from, I can't do this, I don't know how. Okay. And this is going to sound weird, but it'll come full circle. Alone, you can't do that. Okay. And I don't just mean me or clinicians, I'm talking about him.
Hmm.
Second of all, the I don't know how, you're already working towards a solution by sitting here right now. Okay. So those are the when you get that imposter or the fear pops up, um, what I want you to do, I don't know how much of the Bible and scriptures you know, but there is one verse that says, take every thought captive. And then there's another one that says, replace it with things that are true. So what I'm going to do is always bring you back to truth. And the truth is about you right now, Melissa, is what in your practice? If I were to just say, tell me what truth is about your practice off the top of your head, what would you say to me?
It's about my practice is that it's a genuine desire to help people.
Wonderful. What else?
Um, that it's growing, that I am skilled and people do seek me out.
Okay. What else?
Mm, about the practice particularly.
I mean, when people seek you out and you see them, what happens?
I'm easy to connect with. Like they schedule another appointment.
Okay.
No matter the person or their reason for coming, whether they are, a millionaire or they're a politician or they're a teenage kid, like they come back. They want to see me,
Okay.
genuinely appreciate me.
And then
Um,
what happens um, when you see them?
I mean, I feel more confident in myself.
Do you help them?
Yeah, I don't know how.
Well, that's sometimes it's not your problem to know, right?
Right. I say that to you because that's an internal thought that I'm like, how is that? Like, they're like, you're the best. She's the best. My friend told me to come see you because you've changed their life. And I'm thinking, I just talked to them. That's what I think. And so yeah, I help them. That's why they come back.
Okay. So the bottom line is Melissa is, my practice is, maybe one word.
Yeah. I mean, Melissa is capable and qualified. Qualified is a better word. And my practice is, and when I say successful, I don't mean in a monetary way. I mean that I am providing the services that are people are coming to me for.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
I'm glad I got there.
Okay, let me read this back to you because I think it's really important. And I could copy and paste it, but I think that if you write these things down in bullet and put them in visual, it's also going to be a help for you to take that thought captive when it comes, because they do come. They're not going to go away. They come. Okay. But we take the thoughts captive and then we replace it on think on things that are true, think on things that are lovely. Those are verses from the Bible. So what I say is when I take the thought captive, it took me a long time to figure that one out. What that means is the thought comes and I acknowledge it and I say, thank you, thought, for showing up. I don't need you today. So I'm going to just take you captive and put you in the trash can. And then I'm going to replace it with thoughts that are true. So I have a genuine desire. Let me start over. I have a genuine desire to help people. Number one, that's what came out of your mouth right away. That's your heart. It is growing, your practice. I am skilled and people seek me out. I am easy to connect with. They appreciate me. I feel more confident. I help them. I'm qualified. And I am successful because I am providing the service that people are coming to see me for. That's pretty powerful. Yeah? Okay. So that's what I want you to take with you during this week when you think about all that's ahead of you. Because if I go back and I think about where I started with my business and where I am today, which is, like 9 years, and I'm like, I remember sitting in that chair going, how am I going to get here? And it can be so overwhelming. And that's what we need to do is bust overwhelm.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing I will tell you real quickly, have you ever read the horse, I think it's called the Boy, the Horse, and the Mole?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I haven't read the whole book, but there is a conversation in one part of the book between the horse and the boy. He's on a journey. I don't know where he's going, can't remember, but he says to the horse, I cannot find my way. He's just like, and the horse says, can you at least see your next step? And the boy says, yes, I can see that, but I can't figure out how to get, to where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Then just take that one step. And then you will see the step in front of that. And I was like, oh, yes. I just got reminded of that again the other day. It was really good. Okay, so let's move down to what you can't do. And again, the encouragement is there's so much of you inside of you that already knows, because you said, I can't make things go faster than they can. Spot on. And even within myself, it's out of my control. It's because it's his plan. And so when I think I have control, I'm lying to myself. It's like, what are you thinking? You know better. Okay. So when you say, if I do my part, I have to wait for others to do theirs, it's out of my control. Absolutely. But it's also true between your relationship here. You do your part. He's called you to do. You do what your part is. You're doing your calling. But when you go to in the business level up, it's also part of the plan. And you can only do your part until that time is perfect for you to go to that next step. But until then, leveling, go to the steps to get to that level. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you said your celebrations you are successful. I have been in this For over a year, full-time, business keeps flowing in. I am successful. Yes. All right. What do you want to make sure that you get from the relationship? Guidance, direction, clarity, steps to build the practice, to recruit clinicians, have a pay structure for them. All of that is absolutely, yes, we can do that. But then the relief from the anxiety of the unknown of growing in my practice, work-life balance, support, and how to achieve it. Okay, so you know, but I will say it to you, anxiety is part coming from fear, and fear, the acronym is false evidence appearing real, or trying to live outside of this moment. We do it all the time, right? What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do when I hang up on this call? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, we bring that on because we don't stay focused in the present. Yeah, there's things that we got to do to plan, but we have to trust the process. That if I say, okay, I'm ready to do this in my business and I'm going to level up, but it's huge. And so the planning, is the step by step. What are my steps? But trying to see, the goal or the top of the ladder from the bottom, you're not going to do that. You're not going
Right.
to see what's sitting up there on the top. And so we have to focus on what takes that with the relief from the anxiety, going back again to, just taking your next step, not focusing on what's up here, but taking the next step of the ladder. And what do you have to do on that step? Okay, and then focusing here. When all that other stuff comes to bring the anxiety, take it captive again and think on things that are true to bring you back around. And I was in a mastermind class in 2016, and the mastermind group was mostly therapists. I was the only one in there that wasn't a therapist because I'm in the, circle. My coach, said, "Oh, I'm going to work with you." And that in itself could be intimidating at times. I'm the only one in here that's not a therapist. Oh my God, blah, 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 right? And one of the therapists she focuses on brain work. And so she was doing an exercise in how the brain functions, going into the very scientific parts of the front cortex and all of that. And then we did an exercise on how to get relief from anxiety. And she did the grounding exercise in finding something in the room. So remind yourself, if you have to with a sticky, if the anxiety comes, use a grounding tool. My walls are gray blue. The painting has red, blue, dark gray, tan. I'm looking at that picture behind you. So those are, I do this all the time in my room, in my office or wherever, because it's like shit starts flying at me like crazy, and stop, stop it, just stop it. So, my flowers are purple and blah, blah, blah. Remember to use the tools that you know. So I will constantly support you, in when you tell me I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed, and we will stop and do that. But it also brings me to, once we get some things rolling and established, I want to introduce you to someone I know that is great with teaching work-life balance in a holistic manner. She's a holistic wellness coach. She studied for 30 some years, with some of the greatest, people in wellness in that industry. She also has a very strong faith background as well. But she definitely is skilled in, if there's certain things and supplements and working in the wellness, if it's something that you're open to, I'd love to introduce you in a little bit when like I said, let's get some things established so it's not to overwhelm. But that's going to be a support system in your balance, because we've got to get you in a better balance. And then, of course, how do you want me to be as your coach? Strong, truthful, challenging, and supportive. I hope I've already shown that that's part of how I work. What can I say when you're most stuck? And what do we do is, I don't know if you're familiar with Google Drive, but I work a lot. There'll be, things and stuff that I'll send you, whatever. All of my notes and everything goes in your folder in Google Drive. So I've already created a separate page that says remind her when she gets stuck. And what you said was to remind me of what I want for my business. So a question for you real quickly is, can you give me in one sentence, maybe a few words or two sentences, sum up, I want for my business, and fill in the blanks. And if
Yeah.
you want to think about it, you can. If you can say that now, that's fine too.
No, I think I can say that. What I want for my business is to grow and to have a full practice of clinicians with flowing incoming referrals where I can manage more and not have to do direct clinical work as much as I'm doing it now.
Okay. Perfect. And if you were to look at your calendar and your caseload in the dream world of Melissa, okay, what does that look like in terms of realistically, how many clients would you want to see one-on-one, and how much time do you want to put towards being the CEO?
Long-term goal, I want to do like 10, 10, 15, and 15 in the end seems a lot if I really am running and managing and I have a full practice of clinicians that are available. So I would want to do no more than, I would say, ultimate goal, no more than 10, and putting the rest of the hours into running the business and, sort of supporting, mentoring, teaching. But I also want to add that I want to work a normal amount of hours, like 45. Because that's just not happening right now.
Okay. What are you currently doing? How many hours total with everything? I know I'm gonna hate this, but I have to ask.
I'm minimally 60 hours, minimally. Direct, I'm telling you, direct client interaction.
So that's not even notes and everything else in the business.
Right.
Okay, so then we will probably look at more like 65, 70.
Probably 70, 70 hours, 75.
Okay. That
Which,
has to change.
if you, I mean, you want me to be honest,
Yeah.
this is better than it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, it was worse than this. It was more.
Holy shit. What were you doing?
I was working 12 hours a day, every day, 6 days a week.
And what did you do just to bring that down? Why and what did you do?
I accomplished my goal that I set enough that I felt comfortable to not have to do as much. I found you, and I just made that change. There wasn't anything that I had to do except I had less of a need, a financial need to maintain that disgusting amount of work.
Right.
Which I still think this is a disgusting amount. Don't get me wrong. My rational mind tells me this is not okay, hence how I'm here and why I realized the only way to do well and not burn out is to expand, right?
Mhm.
And so I began realizing what other options I had. That's really what happened. So we financially met a goal. I didn't feel as overwhelmed by that. And subsequently, my relationship, my husband is a money driven, sort of anxious person, was the relationship was less strained,
Mhm.
and therefore I could pull back some.
Okay. So do you see the relationship better?
I see my relationship better because I make it better, not because it's better. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
and I always tell my clients this: you don't have to defend your partner to me as to why they're your choice. They're your partner. So he's my
Hmm.
partner. I've been with him for 21 years. He is a great guy with some bad qualities.
Hmm.
And, and if he is upset or frustrated about something, I feel it in me in every fiber of who I am, and I can't shake that.
Of course. Well, you're one,
Right.
right? And
Yeah. But I will tell you, he does not feel the same. It is not equal. He is not shaken by my shakenness.
okay. And I think that in one aspect, that's a lot of difference between men and women because
Hmm.
they process so practical. It's like
Yeah.
logistics or well, it's kind of like Spock, you know,
Yeah.
but it's not logical.
Yeah.
Um, I've been married 39 years.
Okay.
He's my best friend and he is an amazing man, but sometimes I could just, you know, so
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. Okay. So he's money driven, but you're not.
I mean, I grew up poor
Okay.
and I could be poor and I would be okay.
Okay.
He grew up, oh, what's the, between not like, white collar. His dad worked, his mom worked, they had a house, they, had cars that never wavered. They didn't go on extravagant vacations or anything, but
Okay.
they had what they needed. But his parents never said, I love you. They're kind of very cold people. They
Okay.
don't show emotion well.
Okay.
So, right. So, to him, happiness and success are financial stability. And so, if so, to say is, if he's been commission based his entire career.
Mhm.
So when I make minimal money working in a hospital system or, whatever, he makes money. But then, so you live a lifestyle based off of that income. Here, this is where the fear piece comes in, is you build off that and then something happens like a recession or, the pay decrease. So he's based on a pay scale and he manages. So he's had fluctuations in the 13 years he's been doing what he's doing, where he's making 120,000 a year, but then he's making 80,000 a year, and he could make as little as 50,000 a year. And I didn't at the time, I had no way to make any extra money. I couldn't make it appear. And then he's unhappy and he's angry and he's miserable to be around, and that I consume that, right? Hence the
Sure.
drinking and the emotion. And so now everything is okay because there's money. And that's where it's like, I need to keep things this way, or
Okay.
yeah, but there is no debt. So the need is less, much less than
Okay.
it was.
So if you make less than 233,000 in 2023, it's gonna go ouch. Right?
If I make less than 150,000, it would be
Okay.
ouch.
Then you got some wiggle room there.
That's why I was saying is I have the ability now to do this the right way right now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And so
Yeah.
is he supportive of this?
Yeah.
What you're doing? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Super.
It was the initial me leaving my job, the stability, and what if something were to happen. Now my growth in the trajectory of adding states, so there's never a shortage of need. I don't have office expenses. I'm not driving in gas. We own the car, right? Getting rid of all of the other factors and then showing stability. He has no anxiety, which gives me more anxiety. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because if he's like, okay, we're good, and then it doesn't happen again next year, so the whole year you have the anxiety trying to make sure that this is going to happen, so he stays calm,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that I would say is to be upfront and honest with him. This transition is going to take some time. I told you that the other day when we spoke, okay? Because you want to do it right. You want to set it up for success. And you should already know by experience it takes time to meet your goals. It took time for you to get debt free. So this will take some time to build, because the first thing we have to do is, like I said the other day when we talked, is get rid of these disgusting amount of hours that you're working. I love that you called it that you labeled it that. It's perfect. It's just perfect. You could put to that motivation, disgusting hours,
Yeah.
So I think if we're going to start with a process, let's look at, I'm going to send you a doc. So give me 1 second. And it is called the Master Business Plan. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. Nope, wrong one. Nope, wrong one.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. Okay, it's going to be a Google Doc.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, because I'm going to make a copy and put it in your. All right, and what email address? Do you have something that's Gmail based?
Well, my business practice is
Google?
through Google Works. So if you send it to me, I get it. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so give me 1 second. And when you open it, we'll be in the same doc, which is what I want. Okay, so it's Melissa at True Counseling.
Services PLLC.com.
Yeah.
Super long, but It is
That's
what it
okay.
is.
Mine is kind of two.
I thought, to go, it was to go for the web, to the website, and I wanted a .com, and I wanted, and True Counseling Services is already taken by a practice in Georgia, and so I had to add the PLLC.
I get that.
But once you get it, it's not so bad. It's just, and my phone knows it now all the time. Okay, I have it open.
Very good. Perfect. Okay. So this is going to be your doc. And what I've done is I've combined, there's a book and you might want to read it. It's so good, like you have time to read, but it's
I will
called,
make time.
okay. It's called Measure What Matters. And this is all business oriented kind of thing, but there's a lot in there. And it's a really interesting story because it is the story of how Google got to be so huge. Okay. And
What's it called again?
it's right up here at the top, Measure What Matters by John Doerr. You see that right under the title Business Plan? Right
Oh
below
yeah,
that.
yeah, in the pink. Oh, it wasn't pink, but
Yeah,
it was for me.
I'm gonna
Okay.
highlight this for you in
Okay.
that color. Okay.
Cool.
So it's Measure What Matters by John Doerr. And it's kind of an easy read, especially in the beginning chapter, because it's a story about Google. But the bottom line is it talks about this guy, John Doerr, came in, he was kind of like a business coach and came in and, they were looking for somebody to help them systematize and get on a regimen. And he's like, okay. And so he went in and he said, I'm going to do this. And at the end, you can tell me whether you want to work with me or not. Well, obviously they did. Very successful. So he talks about objectives and key results. Okay. And the objective is the what or the goal. And key results come from doing it, the how, the task, the how, and then obviously results. So I combined that um, theory and language with how we're going to break down things to work on. Because here's the thing, people set goals all the time, especially in the new year. It's like, okay, let me start fresh, and they write them down, you're all excited, and everything's great. And the first maybe month, maybe 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks, you're like, doing it. But you're just doing it. And you didn't really sit down to take the time to break them down into short-term, midterm, long-term. So if we say, okay, by the end of 2023, I want to have 5 clinicians on my team, and then we leave it there, that's where the failure starts. Because how are you going to get from here to here? There's 365 days in between. Okay.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the long term, the fourth quarter. Okay. Where do you want to be? And then we're going to go in and we're going to break it down. And really, we could probably reverse the third and the first. It should be fourth. Okay, break it all what we want to do, and then go from that point forward, or reverse the law. Never mind.
Yeah.
I just confused you. It's okay.
No, I know what you're saying. You're talking about goals, and just
then,
because they're listed out that way doesn't mean you do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get
exactly. So then now what we want to do, here's a little meaning from the book down there you can look at. Then what we want to do is go through and, okay, we're in January. So literally, what do we need to do in January to start the goal? Okay.
Yeah.
Is 5 clinicians reasonable by the end of the year? I would venture to say more likely 2 to 4. Okay.
Okay.
So what we can do is up here, and I also color code for, what the goals are. And then the other thing I'm going to recommend is we really don't do more than maybe 2 to 3 major goals. Okay. So the first goal really is not necessarily the clinicians at the end of the year. The first goal is, do you know what it is?
Uh, it may not be the exact, but I mean, for me, when I backtracked it to like, how do I get this to happen, is I had to figure out how to get my practice as a group and have that credentialing in place so that I can bring people on. That for me is what the first goal is.
Okay. But in order to do that, what does Melissa have to do?
Make space so I can put
Absolutely.
energy into it.
Create space. Okay. Because right now you have that disgusting, gross amount of work. Okay. What's your favorite color?
I really like pink, and it's sort of strange. I like a lot of pink, but I don't wear a lot of pink. I like coral, and then I like navy and maroon because I don't know, my brain. I was in maroon high school sports, and I went to a college that had navy. So I tend to have, I don't have just one,
It's
but like
okay.
if my nails, I go get them done. They're always pink. They're always
Okay.
pink.
So we're gonna do pink because this is a major one right here. We can't do anything unless we create space.
Hmm.
Okay. Because in order for you to do anything else in your life, you need room to do it. Okay. So I'm gonna say create space and get rid of the disgusting hours. That's gonna be our mantra. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now we know that that is goal number one. All right. So let's go back down to January. How do we create space in your schedule?
Well, because I control my schedule, I have to determine how much time I need to create, how much I need to put towards something realistically. And to say the amount of hours that I work in total to go down, yes. But even so, for me, even if I'm looking at things in the same way, based on what I'm doing now, I need to know how much of what I'm doing now I need to make time for. And then from there, I need to work on reducing those hours. Do you see how my brain is looking at it? Is
Mhm.
I can't just say, I'm going to go to 50 hours a week and I'm going to make 10 hours a week to do this, because that would be more anxiety producing for me and I would want to quit.
Okay. So if that's the case, then we need to see, okay, so the first thing we need to do is find out how much space you need to be able to start doing the things that you need to do. Okay. So, and you've got to be realistic. This is why it's a slow process
Hmm.
because you can't just say, well, by next week, I want 10 hours free.
Right.
That gonna happen? No.
No.
Why? Because you got clients.
I was going to say right now, if we're saying I need to create space, it's, oh my God, it's February. I'm probably looking at the end of February, and then realistically, we're going on a vacation on a cruise for spring break, which actually I've always worked on every vacation that we've gone on since we started this, and I am not working on that vacation. I am not.
High five.
So, so ultimately, I need to, when I think about making spaces, putting everything in where it belongs and changing, like really changing gears and shifting it 100%. I can start that after we get back from the cruise. I can make space by not adding more things to what I have
Ooh,
now.
did you just hear what you said?
Yes, not adding things. What do you mean by, like, what's big about that?
Because you have a tendency to overextend. You have a
Yes,
tendency to not say no. So the
correct.
very first thing Melissa has to do is to say no. Okay,
I have
so
to set to those boundaries, that
yeah,
the hours.
exactly. So I'm going to pull an accountability with Evelyn. I'm going to tell her you cannot book any more new clients with Melissa until we give you the okay. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
All right. So that was a huge statement. Sorry I interrupted you, but you just kind of went, and I went, well, wait a minute. Make space by not adding more than I have. Okay. So we know that that means no new clients until further notice.
Hmm.
Okay. So the next, you said your cruise is in February.
We're leaving March
Oh,
12th. So like March 10th is like when I'm, not working, because we're going to be leaving on the 11th. And then, so let me look at the calendar really quickly, because
I'm so glad you're doing this. Is it just you and him, or is it family?
we're taking the kids. Yeah, we booked um a Royal Caribbean cruise. It's 8 days. It's a long one. And funny enough, Mike works for AAA. He manages travel. He has a rep. She gave me free Zoom internet so that I could work. And I told her, I appreciate you doing that, because they know me. Mike obviously talks about me. And I said, I don't want to. You can give me just for a device, like a phone for the kids to be able to like connect, but I am not working. There's just no way to make space for it. It would be an inconvenience to everyone else. And I always regret it.
Mm-hmm,
I will do it, but I always regret it. And
mm-hmm.
I'm always freaking tired,
Yeah, yeah. So why go
you
on the
know?
cruise anyway?
Right.
Okay. All
So
right. Cool.
I'm just gonna say is when to realistically look at this. We come back. So the 20th, March 20th is when I can really snap everything in 100%. We're looking at dates that's like no more, no trying to fit it in, just really trying to look at whatever that structure looks like. Realistically, March 20th.
Okay. But up here, these things are not something that you have to worry about time-wise, so this can be done right away, not
Hmm.
taking more clients, okay?
Right.
The second thing is you can do right now is look at your active clients that you're seeing on a regular basis, and can you find 3 clients that could be ready to graduate, or even can you refer out?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you come up with more, great. Okay.
Those are ones. There are some now that I see. Some of them I just see monthly, and mainly because they like to talk to me and they just want to talk through some things. And those are ones that um, I there. And then there are some that, yeah, I'd have to really think about, like the ones that I'm seeing every other week, because I that's something that I do is I will push people. I will challenge them to meet less frequently, because I want them to be successful and not feel dependent on it and to hold on to things just to come talk to me on. And there are some that if I said I would need to meet less frequently, um, they would probably be a little anxious about it, but could. But I do a good job of spreading them out and just allowing them to be monthly. And I've recently just had some people that are said, you can just contact me if you need to, and we can get a session on schedule. So I'm not having recurrence. But what I need to do is be able to refer some people out.
Okay.
That's what I need to do.
Do you have a referral list that Evelyn has that you feel comfortable with?
She's only had to ask me a few times because some new clients, I have her screening them out. Because for me, what I don't want to do is take on difficult clients if I'm trying to do this. I can't have anything that's going to be really consuming and need me more frequently than I can offer.
Right.
And so I have a couple of referrals. I have a colleague, a friend of mine who I'm mentoring or have mentored in the last year, who is multi-state licensed like me. She has better boundaries. She doesn't work more than 30 clients a week.
Good for her.
Yeah, and she just hired somebody under her. Now, I don't think she's ready there. I think she's pushing along too out of like desire. But that's what I'm saying is I don't want to do it the wrong way,
Yeah.
and I want to do it the right way. But I refer out to her sometimes. I do. I don't think she has an actual list until Evelyn asks me if that's what. I haven't given her a list per state from people, but I am in a lot of the social media, Facebook, psychotherapy groups, networking groups. So what I do is anybody that comes in, I will go and search and see if make a post if I need to, but just go see what's been recently posted and read through, connect, and then give them that name.
Okay. If you can, as you do that and you connect and you feel good, start creating that list that you can give to Evelyn. That will be helpful. All
Okay.
right. So one of the things that you might want to consider is the ones that you see monthly. I could see that if you don't fill up the other 3 weeks in that spot, the monthlies could be okay, leave them alone. And as
Okay.
you push them to go monthly, those 3 weeks you do not fill up. Okay. So
Okay.
bottom line is you can't take any more clients, period.
Right.
That's
No.
okay.
I have more clients than most people should have.
You do. And if I hear that you took a client, we're gonna have a come to Jesus meeting.
I won't.
Okay.
I won't.
So if you could look in actually maybe even 3 to 5 clients that you can discharge or move to monthly, start talking to them that in February, in March, this is what I want to happen. Okay.
Okay.
By March, at the very latest, it would be nice if we could have something happening mid-February, which is literally starts tomorrow. If in a couple weeks, we could have 1 or 2 spots open, or at least 3 weeks out of the month open, if you can move some clients to monthly.
So this is what I am good at is, let's just say, is I care a lot about my tattoo artist. She is my person, and she has weekend openings. I have never taken a weekend day. I don't want to do that to hers, and that's so funny that I won't do that to her, but I'll do like I do it to myself. But long story short is I am seeing her 2 weeks in a row. I'm seeing her February 22nd and I'm seeing her March 1st for full day appointments.
Okay.
She said, and I cleared those days. I will clear those days. So if I know what I need to do, I will do it. But if I am in control of it, I struggle with that. So I will always, so all I need is that, like, that's why I'm like, I have to do this, is I need somebody to hold me accountable and not do it.
Okay.
And just stick to that. And so if I have a really great example. I had been on Ambien for the last 6 years because drinking really, screws with your sleep.
Right.
But so I'd been on it and I really wanted to get off it. I have a really great psychiatrist who is a sleep psychiatrist. He's been world renowned. He's been on journals. And so I got off, I was going down, and then my sleep was a little disrupted. And I said, I don't know. And he said, I can put you back on this dose, Melissa, but that's what I was saying is you told me you didn't want to be on this. And I said, you're right. So don't prescribe it. And you know what? I don't take sleeping medicine anymore. I did for 6 years.
Wow. How did your body adjust and handle that?
it was challenging initially is because at that point you become so accustomed to just falling asleep without having to try. And hence, we all need to try.
Right,
And so it's just like sitting there and comfortably. And there's a whole lot of like, don't watch TV, don't look at your phone,
right.
right? All of those things, which I don't look at my phone when I'm not working.
Okay,
I don't scroll TikTok. I don't do any of those things that other people do.
okay,
Um, I'm present when I'm present. Um, and that's because that's intentional. So
good.
anyhow, if somebody gives me, if I say something to you and then you put me in my place, I will do it.
Okay, great.
I just need that because I have always been a yes person, and that comes from feeling like I needed to be meeting and like it need to be heard or seen or validated, right? So anyhow is if you tell me
Okay,
you need to clear, you know, 2 hours every other day, I will make those spots available and I will schedule around it. But
wonderful.
I have to have it there to start because I can't make room for
Right,
it once I've already took it away.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so does the time frame seem reasonable to you to get to opening up 3 to 5 spots per week by mid to end February? Does that seem possible?
End of February.
Yeah, into February. Okay,
If you,
okay,
I mean, say mid, yes, I would say end of February, yes. And
okay.
um, the challenge is not to put them to extend my hours to make those hours and then just work around those hours.
And
I need
how
to
are you
not,
going
yeah,
to extend the hours? Do you have them?
right, sure.
Do you really?
No, I
I
do, but I don't have them to give to that. I need them to sleep and I need them to eat dinner and I need them to go to the grocery store and to go to the movie theater. So no, I want to work less hours.
okay.
I want to make time within those less hours. And I know that's possible, but I can't do that myself.
Right. And maybe those hours to be mom and wife as well, right?
Hmm.
First. But even first, before that is Melissa. When is Melissa giving Melissa time?
Yeah, well, my nails, that's about it. And I make time to run, but it's like in between or losing an hour of sleep here or there. Um, yeah, is when I got the W-2 from Talkspace and I totaled those things together, this was last week, and that was like I literally showed Mike and I said, I have to change this. I did
Yeah.
not have a life because I did not have a life. There is no way one human being makes that money and has literally worked every one of those hours. There's no fraud, there's no nothing. That is me, right? And making that and thinking that that I lived a life. I don't know how I even did the things that I did do.
So um you basically worked about 72 hours a week, which is 180 hours a month. That's 20 hours over the average, 160.
Yeah.
But not only that, what are you modeling for your children? I'm going to
Yeah.
hit it hard really right now for the last few minutes.
That's okay. I know that. Are you working? You're a mom, you're always working. Um, are you serious? It's 11 p.m. You're still working. You made us dinner, but you're not going to sit here and eat with us, right? I did the things. I did the things.
But they're not looking for the thing,
Right. I know.
they're looking for
Yeah.
you.
You know,
Okay.
I want to not pick them up from school and have to jump right on the call. That's what I want. And that's what I tried or try and couldn't keep because I struggled. I am doing a better job of that now.
Okay. So what time do you pick them up?
Um, well, I have to pick the older two up at 4. So I try to block 3:30 to 5. That's what I try. Ideally, I just want to block 3 to 5. And I'm okay with working 5 to 7 because Mike's never home before 7 and they're sort of relaxing after school and doing their own thing. But I don't want to work past 7 anymore at all.
Okay.
And I would want to work past 5 if I didn't have to take that time to go pick them up and do the whole thing because it takes away 2 hours of a traditional workday. But again, hence why I want to be more of a managing role and not direct because that does give me more ability to do things differently.
Okay. So there's no like alternative, like what do they call that? Carpool situation with other moms that maybe a couple weeks, days a week.
So there's a bus. They don't want to take it. And yes, I could make them. I made them take it last year. I just don't feel like I don't want to have to make them take it.
Well, here's a thought. If they took the bus, that saves 2 hours for you, right? And if they take the bus, what time do they get home?
The same time I get home with the car,
Okay, so what, 4:35?
4:30. Yeah.
4:30. Okay. So if they took the bus, you could keep working from 3:30 to 5. And then the deal you make with them is from 5 o'clock on, this is future, but from 5 o'clock on, I'm gonna be mom. I'm not gonna work anymore. Or 6 o'clock, you start little and move up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say, I get that you don't like it. I totally get that. But here's a compromise. Here's a way we can work together. You're all like, you want to eat dinner together as a family. Yeah, we really do. You want to, sit and hang out and play games or watch TV at night. Yeah, we do. Okay. So if you guys would be willing to take the bus, then I can be done. The first goal would be I could be done by 6 o'clock. And then I'm going to move that to 5 o'clock. So what I want you to do is I want you to bring the whole family into this process that we're doing. I want
Hmm.
you to and you said his name is Mike.
Hmm.
I want you to let Mike know that as you go through this shift, the income will drop, but only to build it back up again because it's going to drop because you have to create the space for yourself to do this. Okay.
Hmm.
He may not be thinking through all of that trail. He just says, yeah,
He
let's do this.
he has
Oh,
when
good.
you and I talked last, like that's at this point, there's not a problem
Okay.
until, if it was impactful. But again, we don't have any debt.
Right.
So even
Huge.
he makes good money also. So
Okay.
he, he's for it. He tells me all the time he doesn't want me doing this, but he knows why I do it.
Sure.
Now, not when we were in the worst situation,
Right.
but we're not in a terrible situation that I could take. I mean, we could take a $3,000 or $4,000 pay cut per month and we would be okay. We just wouldn't have a ton of extra right now.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But if you bring all of them, including the kids, because they are part of the family and they're old enough to help you make the decisions that involve them in that particular area. And now, if they say, no, we don't want to do it, say, okay, that's fine. But that means that I will have to work until, and then whatever it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just slowly get you to where you want to be. But they could be a big part of it and get there faster. So you
Yeah.
may want to have that conversation with them.
no, last year they took the bus, or she took the bus because the other one wasn't in middle school yet. They just walked home because I worked for Blue Cross for half the year and I couldn't get done because I had to be on the phones, right?
Mhm.
So she had to take the bus. And because she had to, she didn't. And then it's been progressive. I don't think you're wrong. There's just a lot of being a teenager is hard and taking the bus. I don't know that they can see the game, but I'm willing to have the conversation.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. And you tell them it's okay if you decide this isn't what you want to do and you want to have me continue to get you, it's okay. But this is an option that would get me faster to the dinner table to eat with you instead of just providing food for you.
Mhm.
Okay. So you start it by saying it's okay if you say no, but it's a thought. So
Okay.
you have the backup is that that okay, uh, then if that's the first goal in terms of shaving the calendar down, then look at those spots at 5 o'clock on. Who of those people can you move to once a month or graduate or refer out, that kind of thing? Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
So look at those times after 5 o'clock first. And then, maybe there's only one, maybe there's two, and you have to find it in other hours, and that's okay. But at least start there.
Okay.
Okay. So you know your homework?
Hmm.
Okay.
I am going to look at my caseload and try to see 3 to 5 people to move monthly or to transition out. And I'm going to not take new clients. And I'm going to try to talk to the kids about bus hours. But I'm also going to not work past what I set for my hours, which is not
Awesome.
past 7 o'clock.
Okay. Super. Let me give you, because we're gonna do the same time at 11, my time, 1 o'clock
Hmm.
your time, right? Okay. I also want to give you my cell phone number because I'm your cheerleader. And I
Okay.
want you to say, I accomplished this today. And
Okay.
I'm an emoji junkie, so I will mostly respond with that or whatever.
Okay.
But you can send me a text, then I can save yours. So it's 562-896-3944. So let's say
Okay.
by Friday, send me, or even before, if you have it, if you've done something only accomplished before, but by Friday at the latest, send me just even one little thing that was a win.
Okay.
How do you feel today, right now?
Um, if we would have had this conversation a month ago, 2 months ago, I would have said, I can't do that. There's no way. But I
Mhm.
think I've spent enough time living in worry and also desire to change that right now I feel positive about it. I just am internally thinking, how do I have the conversation with these clients that are later that I started with when I was doing it evenings and weekends because I was working full time to say, hey, realistically, I need to change my lifestyle and I can fit you in my regular scheduled hours, but I can't offer these later evenings anymore. And that is more of an emotional piece. It's like, how do I not hurt some people that like came because of those reasons? They came to me
Right.
because, right?
Well, what I would what I would say to that and encourage you, how you tell them is, first of all, you're going to be showing them and modeling them to them priority of taking care of Melissa and family. And so you tell them truth, right? You said you're
Mhm.
You're real with your clients. That's the best
Oh yeah,
place to
when I
be.
have to reschedule somebody because like when my mom was sick,
Right,
I'm so sorry, I have to cancel you. My mom has been sick and I need to take care of her. And
right,
I say that because it's better than just being like, I'm sorry, I can't make your appointment today. We
right.
need to reschedule.
Because you're real with people. And most clinicians are like, oh, I don't want them none of my business. To me, I say bullshit
Yeah,
because you are a human, real person.
yeah,
Therapists are real, for sure person. Life shit happens. And I would much rather you say, oh my God, I just, uh, I'm overextended and I need to take care of me.
there was a few weekends back the months ago where I had been working both weekend days, and I know your time is important too, so I'll quickly say this, but I I couldn't wake up. I had scheduled appointments early because and I missed it, and I literally said, "I am so sorry. I did not wake up." And you
Mhm.
know what? I'm like, if you don't want to reschedule, I totally get it. That client rescheduled and schedules later. So honesty is important because I would rather know that I didn't get ghosted by my therapist, that literally my therapist overslept and couldn't get her ass out of bed, than think that she didn't care enough about my time to just not show up.
Absolutely. 100%.
Um, and and I just said, whatever happens, happens, but I'm not gonna make up some dumb excuse. It's
Yeah.
not worth it.
So then an answer is how you're going to tell them is you're going to be real with them. You can choose your words, but you just say, I am working towards changing my schedule because I have 3 children at home that need me. And so here's what I do have available. What you have to be okay with is knowing that some people will go, well, I'll just find somebody else. But that's kind of what
Hmm.
you want them to do, in a way. But then they may get mad. And you know what? It's on them. And you have to be okay and willing to release whatever decision or however they take that is their stuff and not yours.
Hmm.
Okay. So I feel the rapport that you have with your clients, they're going to get it. And they're going to go, tell me what you got. I'll figure out how to make it work. Here's the truth. I've been in this business long enough. I know people long enough. I'm a therapy client myself. People will make it work if they really want to. It's just convenience is always comes first.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. And I know that in the concept of they came to me, I was doing weekends, and some of them, a lot of those people too have shifted. They're no longer, some of them, like the two that I'm thinking that I could sort of encourage to meet less frequent and discharge, they were evening and weekend people and now they're daytime people. So
There you go.
like, and yeah, and I think I can do it. It's just I know that I'm gonna have some guilt that I gotta work through.
Okay. And we can do that together. Where does guilt come from? Really?
Disappointment
Well,
and
but it also, when we go back to the relationship with God, it's guilt is not of God. It's not of, it's of the enemy. And because you know why? You are so effective and successful with what you do with the people that you help that I'm going to call them out. Satan doesn't like it because that means you help people heal, which means now they become better people in life and they pass it on and it trickles down. So guilt is bullshit. Okay, you can write that one on a sticky if you want. Guilt is bullshit. And go back to taking every thought captive and replacing it. What is true? I've helped these people.
yeah,
Melissa is not the only one on this earth that can help them.
it's true. I know that. Yeah.
Good, good. Okay. So when the thought comes, when the guilt comes, you grab it. Thanks for visiting. In the trash can it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So text me whenever, but by Friday, give me a little hint of how it goes, and then we will start with where you are on next week with, how the week is, what you got accomplished, and keep working on that master plan. And if you want to start adding to it, definitely. If you have a second goal, that's great. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm super jazzed about all of this. I think it's going to be awesome.
Okay. I don't know why did that? Oh, it's just hidden by this other thing. Okay.
Okay. And then I think I sent,
The updated.
yeah,
Okay.
you're, okay, it's there. All right. Have an awesome week.
You too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.